What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Two in the Teal podcast. I'm Ethan.
I'm Marcus. Thanks for riding with us. We're going to be here with you all season long. A lot of tears, a lot of happy times. Give us a like and subscribe.
Let's freaking go.
Welcome in, friends. We've got a special one today. We are joined by Zach Goodall. Marcus, hit us with a little intro on Zach Goodall.
Yeah, this podcast was not even... We thought it wasn't even going to be football related, and then it got even more football related, and then everybody said Quint Boyd knew nothing about football.
Yep.
And then look at us now. We're bringing on Mr. Zach Goodall onto the show, the legend himself. I just Googled this. He's so known that you can just literally Google him.
You're Googleable?
Yeah, Zach Goodall he's super Googleable. Zach, you cover the Florida Gators for 247 Sports. This is a really cool little statistic about you. You're a member of the Pro Football Writers of America and the Football Writers Association of America, which is just like those titles just make me so fucking
That's sick, dude. That's
sick. Two of them.
But you've covered teams. You cover teams currently, the Gators, the Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So shout out to you, man, for being such an awesome sports covering and reporter, man. I'm gonna give you a round of applause.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah, thanks
for
coming
chatting
on.
with us.
Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you guys, man. Shit, I think back to this started back at Players Cafe, right? This is 10 years in the making.
Dude.
Yes,
Shout
sir.
out.
Absolutely legendary breakfast spot. Closed down now, unfortunately. It's like a fish. It's like a fish spot.
Yep.
Now.
Yeah. Rest in
but
peace.
it was truly a prime in its time.
It's a great spot. Zach, what was your order there?
Bro, this is 10 years ago, man. Come on, whatever their the cliche name was for their 3-egg special or some shit.
Nice.
No, actually I take it back because they had a ripoff of the buffalo chicken tender sub. I call it that.
Oh, they did.
I remember that. Yeah,
that one was good.
That was a banger.
Yeah, that was good. I was big on the ham and cheese omelet with their home fries. Home fries were absolutely delicious.
Real good.
What was yours, Ethan?
The same thing, just a crazy omelet with the hash browns or the home fries. I don't, all good. Any of them.
Yeah, there was a guy there named Poncho, the cook. Shout out Poncho. He would just give us free food. Legendary times, boys. Glad to have us back in the mix here.
This is sweet. All right, Zach, let's start with Jaguars O-line. 2 draft picks, 4 free agents, plus some extras. And not just depth, they think they need a new starting offensive line. Clearly they did not think highly of what was in the room already. I mean, draft, free agency, everything. What are you hearing, seeing? What do you think about the O-line going into this year?
Yeah, I don't think they had any reason to be optimistic about the offensive line.
Exactly.
That was one of the most maddening things, even just in the year that I covered them, this Titanic of a year with Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke getting out of there. It's and even before I came back, they were all in on their worst offensive line in the NFL being better than it got credit for. Remember those T-shirts they had where it was the 31st ranked unit or something in the league? They took pride in that.
Yeah.
No, I think the most casual fan could have told you there's a reason why Trevor Lawrence is getting so banged up, why they can't run the ball for years on end, why they give up as many pressures as they do. It just wasn't good. And they bring in these new additions. I'm higher on some more than others. For example, you mentioned Marcus when I was covering Tampa Bay. I got to be there for at least the first year, I think first 2 years of Robert Hainsey being there. I personally think that there's a lot for that guy to prove. But I like swinging and just bringing in as many players as you can when you have the results that you've had the last couple of years. And I think that even with some of the players they brought back to start, they're still really challenging them. Yeah. I can't tell you a good thing I've heard Liam Cohen say about Anton Harrison this entire offseason when he's been asked about him. He's he's athletic, but he's got a lot to get better at. And even if he ends up being the starter, which I would think he would be as a former first round pick, they are expecting significant strides out of this group. If not, they've got all these new guys. They're not going to be afraid to throw someone else into the fire.
Yeah. So Robert Hainsey. So this isn't Travis Frederick or Jason Kelsey coming in to save the day, right? This is a I mean, Tampa Bay let him go for a reason. Like, if he was unreal, they wouldn't have let him go.
Yeah, like Liam Cohen's obviously got some experience with him. I think
That's true, yeah.
helps a lot. But like,
Makes sense.
He has experience with him being the backup. Like they drafted Robert Hainsey's replacement, I think, in the first round.
Was that Graham Barton at a
like
Duke?
2 year.
I wanted him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to me, that's not the most ringing endorsement, but at the same time, I don't even think Mitch Morse had retired at that point. They brought him in. Maybe I could be wrong. So again, it's just like, when Mitch Morse is your top option, or Luke Fortner is your top option, if Mitch Morse isn't there, like, you just bring in anyone you can get. You draft, and I'm not going to get his name right, but Jonah Monheim,
USC guy.
USC,
Yeah.
Tony Baselli guy, I'm sure. But like you restock, you bring in one or two guys that you can at every position, and try and at least light a fire under the players' asses who are there.
Yeah, I heard it more as a floor raising, not necessarily a high ceiling type of moves are being made on the offensive line. Just, we need NFL offensive linemen, like proven, can do it, not going into their last year type of guys.
And they need
exactly.
they need to compete too, man. Like, their roles have been, I feel like their roles have been so dead set for so long, and it just has not worked for years. So bringing in people to actually compete for spots and roles, I mean, I'm happy about it. And by the way, I love drafting linemen. I absolutely love drafting linemen. I wish we would do it more. I wanted that defensive lineman, what was out of Michigan, right? What is that guy? That 3-tech, the tackle?
Yeah.
Dude, I love that guy. His highlight reel is so sick.
Well, and
Maybe we made it out better with Travis Hunter, but I love linemen, man. The O-line, D-line is where my heart's at.
Yeah.
Can't have enough.
Yeah.
And Zach, we'll do rants about Trent Baalke and them at some point, but that's another thing is I'm like, who have you been drafting the last 5 years? How do we have no offensive linemen? Like, I mean, Walker Little was Urban Meyer's sneaky good draft, but Walker Little is kind of, I mean, Anton's struggling. Like, it's really just been Walker Little.
Yeah.
One guy. Cooper Hodges got hurt, but
yeah, but like they loved Cooper Hodges.
Yeah.
They
really
loved that guy. And like maybe they saw something that no one else did, but like there's a reason why he was available in the 7th round, and they still hung on to him for 2 years despite like some very serious injuries, and viewed him like if he didn't get hurt last offseason, he was going to be the guy that replaced Brandon Sheriff as long as Trent Baalke was around. Like, I think they had full intentions of holding on to a 7th round pick as a starter to replace, he wasn't an All-Pro at Jacksonville, but a former All-Pro right guard. And like, to me, it was like a total overconfidence in what they saw, where they were drafting, and I think that applies across the entire offensive line. Like, Walker Little's the one, right, that at least stands out a little bit. Shout out Urban Meyer.
Yep.
But, like, otherwise they would do these patchwork signings. Scherf being a 3-year guy. Ezra Cleveland being, like, a 1 or 2 year guy until he got his extension. And, like, these aren't priority free agents either. They're the guys that were, like, discount deals who they could bring in and think would at least be serviceable. Like, no, this is the most important unit in the sport, I would argue, aside from the one spot position being your quarterback. Like,
absolutely love that.
Yeah, if you've got a franchise quarterback, or you believe you do at a bare minimum, you've got to do everything in your power to protect him.
Agreed.
Yeah. What gives me a lot of hope is I think Liam Cohen was at the Rams that year where they had an absurd amount of different versions of a starting offensive line because of all the injuries. And I think they just figured it out. They made it work. They called plays that worked with what they had out there. Whereas, and again, we'll do rants about the previous regime, but Doug, he's kind of more of a, like, calls his offense and you execute his offense type of guy. Well, he won the Super Bowl in 2017 with the #1 rated offensive line in football. So that was mind-numbing to me, was how was that not priority #1 to Baalke? And to be fair, he drafted a tackle in the 1st round, like, but I mean, that was about it. And then Walker Little, shout out Urban Meyer, but like, other than that, I just didn't see much effort being made towards, I need my Jason Kelsey's, Jason Peters, like these type of guys on the offense.
Yeah, like Lane Johnson being, I'm
Lane
sure
Johnson,
a future Hall of Famer.
picked after
like
Luke Joker, by the way. Yeah.
We don't need to talk about that. But just like in general, they were willing to make those kind of investments. And I get that they're not the flashy ones. Like, I'm sure a lot of Jaguars fans, if they took Mason Graham, for example, Marcus, like, they wouldn't have loved it because it's not flashy. And who knows how he's going to work out, but I saw the same things that you did on film. I think that while, like, Yeah, he doesn't have the name recognition of a Travis Hunter. That guy would have done a lot for this Jacksonville defensive line, which I'm sure we'll get to in a bit too. I think still needs some work done. Like, the edges are really good, but the interior needed help. Now, this is not to say that they shouldn't have taken Travis Hunter, but you get what I mean there, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
well, it's a perfect segue into, we wanted to talk Travis Hunter next. I mean, that's a good question. Would you feel better about this team with Mason Graham at 5, not Quinshot Judkins because of the headlines? Okay, pick someone else at that second round pick, and we have our first round pick next year. Like, what would you really have felt better with about this team? So, I mean, what did you think of the Travis Hunter trade?
I mean, like, it was a lot, right? But when you've got that kind of player, I can't think of anyone that's not a quarterback prospect that would be worth moving up for, other than Travis Hunter, right? When you've got the potential to legitimately play a guy, I don't know, let's call it 70 snaps, or 70% of the snaps, both ways.
That's what I was thinking.
2 birds, 1 stone, right? Like, they
Yep.
still needed some cornerback help. Obviously, they needed to take the load off of Brian Thomas at wide receiver. I would have done it. Ballsy as that move was, and I'm sure I say that now, if I were a GM, maybe I would react differently. But, like, when I look at how, like, the pricing of it, especially, I think it's worth the second one. And there were other ways that they could have gone about adding to, say, their interior defensive line. Even later in the draft, like, there were some picks that I didn't admittedly love because there was some defensive line value on the board later on. Still, like, I wouldn't trade the Travis Hunter pick for the world right now, based on the things they're saying, the things that we're seeing and hearing.
What are you hearing and seeing?
Well, I'm hearing Liam Cohen talk about him winning offensive and defensive rookie of the year, man.
Yeah.
We were talking about it before we came on. Like, a coach will be honest with you if his, like, rookie is, like, got it, or if there's some work that needs to be done. And granted, like, sure, Liam Cohen's a first-time head coach. There are things that he may not have the PR training to do, but I trust his honesty. Right? If anything, he's probably being more honest than a hype man. And, I mean, shoot, like, I remember, because I was covering Florida at the time, they had no chance of getting Travis Hunter, but being committed to Florida State, like, I watch a lot of his film, I see it. Mm-hmm. The athleticism's uncanny. It was going back to high school. You could just tell that this guy, no matter where he went, like, he was going to be a game changer and that he was capable of doing it on both sides of the ball. And the NFL's a different beast. There's a different mentality. There are different schematics that he's going to have to learn, techniques he's going to have to learn. But the agility, the stamina, I think that's the most important aspect of seeing if he can hold up at the NFL level, because he's shown to be a really sharp wide receiver, a savvy coverage corner. Those things are translating, and seemingly so far, especially in the Jacksonville, Florida heat, the stamina and agility are holding up too.
Colorado altitude. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
It's different. It's
Does
a different
wonders,
different environment, and I feel like it's tough to take a coach's word for it after they just made that big trade. Like, obviously, after making such a ginormous trade for that pick, they're not gonna say, "Oh, he's playing terrible." They're not gonna say that. But I heard recently from someone who's been on the field at practice every day that he is generational talent, and that gave me like a warm fuzzy blanket of happiness just to hear that somebody that I actually trust is saying that too, and it's not just the coach. I personally am not in the position yet where I trust coach. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some proof for me. Obviously, he put together a pretty sweet offense at Tampa Bay, but coming into Jacksonville where we have that losing mentality, it's going to take a pretty sweet Hail Mary to really turn it around for me. But I'm all for it. I support him. But
that's a good point. I want to see Travis Hunter, which, I mean, I hope to God we're not in this position, but when we're 2-3 or 2-4, which is very much so on the table, like, how's Travis? How's the dancing? Are we still dancing in between reps? Like, are we still, is the fire still there? Like, that's what I kind of want to see. I don't want to see it, but it feels inevitable. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence was generational too, but
exactly, man.
I guess we had Urban Meyer, so sneaky good drafter. But
yeah, and that's a great point. Like, is he gonna be one of those hang your head down when we're down bad? Like I've said it before, but I've seen the T-Law throw off the chin strap, hang your head down, and walk back to the sideline, and it's just, what's up, man? Like, what's the move going forward here? Because what kind of environment are you building? What kind of mentality are you spreading?
Yeah. Well, Travis lost in college. I mean, he was about 500 at Colorado. Trevor never lost. So, but yeah.
I feel like it's been a little bit worse for him in the NFL than it's been in college. But I don't know, man. I'm a little bit concerned about Travis Hunter. As far as being a part of a team that has statistically been terrible.
Yeah.
And not that I'm not fully for the boys and that I ride with Duval till I die.
Right.
Not saying I don't. But who is he when adversity strikes him straight in the chest? Is he going to be one of those bounce back kind of guys? I don't know if y'all know, but I heard there was a clip of someone asking him when he was going to get drafted, and somebody said, "What about Jacksonville?" And he was like, "Oh, did you guys ever see that?"
I mean, I didn't see it, but I wouldn't blame anybody for going, ooh.
I know.
I just we haven't earned oh hell yeah, I got drafted to the Jags. Other than the no state income tax.
If I can find it, I'll send it to you guys.
Remember that photo of C.J. Henderson when he got drafted by the Jags and he put his head in his hands? He was crying about it.
Dude,
yeah,
it's
they earned
rough,
that reputation.
It's rough.
That's a good one. Part of my rant about the previous regime will do is that 2020 draft, C.J. Henderson and Kayvon Chason. It's not just that they didn't hit as first round picks; they're borderline out of the league. It was 5 years ago. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, realistically, do you think he's going to be, because Liam is the one calling the plays and calling all the shots, do you think he's going to be primary receiver, depth at corner? Do you think he's going to be primary corner, certain receiver packages? If you had to guess.
I don't want to necessarily specify, because I legitimately think that he will play the majority of snaps both ways.
Really?
And I think that there will be times, where they want to take him out and give him some breathers. Maybe... I don't know. A player of his length and athleticism at corner, I could see maybe trying to keep within the 20s, or outside the 20s, I guess I should say, red zone. That would be a specialty. When he was coming in at first, I thought it would be the other way around. I thought it may be defense heavy, wide receiver in the red zone or on the plus side of the 50. But I don't know if they're going to want to limit him. Maybe they start out a little early, a little easy, but I could see us getting to a point where he legitimately is 70-ish% both ways. And if so, that
would be crazy.
I don't know how it's possible. I don't know how the human body could work like that. But I mean, you look at what they have too at both spots. Tyson Campbell, I think he's a really quality corner. Struggles to stay healthy. Jordan Lewis, I think is a pretty nice signing. Whether he ends up outside full-time slot, he and Jarian Jones mix it up, I'm not sure. Pushing, if not already, over 30. So,
right.
You're only one injury away from, needing Travis Hunter to be on the field on defense the entire time. Wide receiver core, Brian Thomas being Brian Thomas is great. De'Ami Brown, looks nice in practice. Had a really nice run in the playoffs last year. You don't know what you're getting still because he's never really done anything in the regular season before this. Parker Washington, slot receiver, has always been kind of a spot starter. Okay, has some flashes, but not someone that I would necessarily want to trot out there in 11 personnel 100% of the time, too. So, again, one injury or one stale offensive drive away from, you got to have Travis Hunter on the field. I think it's almost a necessity to play him as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the dangers with that, boys, is now we're putting 70% offense, 70% defense on this one cat. All of our chips are in one basket. He goes down, we lose a spot on both sides of the ball. That's detrimental. And so that's why I've been thinking coach has got to be having all of this in his head already, right? We're not on Two in the Teal pod right now, three really cool dudes chatting about this, and we're the only ones talking about it, right? They have got to be getting the sports science behind this whole thing. How many reps can we realistically give him on both sides of the ball with the statistics on how healthy can we keep him? How many reps do we give him to limit the chance for injury? Because if he's playing 70% both ways, that's over double the percent of you catching an injury, right? Just logically speaking. So what if he goes down and we lose that threat on both sides? Do we have the guys to replace him? Do we have that depth, Ethan?
I mean, my thing is I keep going back to it's more so on offense. He can take breaks. You can go two tight ends, BT and De'Ami, and just run the ball, and that's part of that reinforced O-line, drafting a couple running backs, a couple a big one and a fast one, getting depth back there. He can take 3 plays off and catch his breath. And then defense, I saw one of our backups went down, Brown. He was nice last year. But, Zach, I'm more worried about the corners with this stuff. I'm if Travis goes down, I'm not as confident in Jari and Jordan and Tyson, because then Tyson has susceptible himself. Like, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to see how this goes. 70% each way would be crazy. Like, that's awesome.
It'd be crazy.
That'd be kind of
Yeah,
sick.
it'd be crazy. And like, it may not be week 1, right? But like, I would think that a couple weeks into the season, he's got his feet underneath him. Like, that's got to be the goal. And I'm the same way with you on the corners. Like, Jarian Jones, I thought,
Solid.
had a really productive rookie year.
Yeah.
They're now moving him out of the slot, it seems. And like, at least, things can change. He could develop outside. My man was not a good outside corner over his multiple years at Florida State. This guy was like, he was viewed as like, you move him to the slot and that's where he can thrive. Well, Jordan Lewis is primarily a slot corner. So who's the odd man out here? And if you're stuck in a position where Travis Hunter can't go, then all of a sudden, like, you are creating a weakness, much less losing one of your most talented players on the roster too. So I know people are excited about not only Travis, but the entire regime change and expectations, going through the roof. This to me is still kind of a multi-year thing. There are a lot of questions still across the roster, and I think corner and maybe wide receiver 3 are pretty big ones for that. The offensive line too. More reinforcements are needed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
This is the most football we've been.
No,
I
it's
say that
great.
every week, but like, this is just great.
So,
That's
Zach-
shocking, man, because I didn't think I'd live up to Quint Boyd.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
dude.
bro, good. Zach, you got your finger on the pulse more than we do. We floated part of the trading up for Travis Hunter and everything. Do you kind of do that also for relevance? People will say, like, I wouldn't have paid Tua, I wouldn't have paid Trevor, whatever. And I'm going, if I'm the owner or the GM and I'm looking around at the league and I'm like, well, F me, at least I have someone who's serviceable. I don't care, give him the money. We cannot suck at corner. It's kind of how I feel about, like, Travis. Keeps us relevant, gets us, more headlines. Also, maybe takes some pressure off of Trevor. Do you think there were any kind of, like, any of that going on there?
I would hate to know that my coach or GM operated like that, because they're not there to, like, be.
Yeah.
But like, I see again, like, I'll shout out Liam Cohen going on Rich Eisen today. Rich Eisen was like nearly in tears talking about how Travis Hunter could single-handedly change the NFL for good.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
Travis is going to keep generating those headlines for the next 4+ years as long as he's in Jacksonville. Hopefully longer, so long as everything works out. Yeah, there's just like, it's inherent. The irrelevance comes with it. And I think that James Gladstone, being a young guy, again, I think the move was really ballsy in and of itself. But he's in tune. He's got his finger on the pulse too. I'm sure that guy's got a burner Twitter if he doesn't actually have a Twitter itself.
Right.
But like, he had to have known the waves that this is going to make. Liam Cohen too, for that matter. They're both young guys who I'm sure care a little bit more about perception more than Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson.
Sure.
So
That's
I think
a
that
good
it goes
point.
both
That's a
ways,
great
for sure.
perspective.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Never thought about that. He's also, Travis Hunter's going to make us a lot of money.
Oh
It's
yeah.
another thing.
Jersey sales, people tuning into the games. I mean, it's
We
going to
have a
be
stadium renovation to pay for.
Yeah, like he's
Yeah.
going to make us a boatload of money. So I look at it this way. I mean, he's kind of getting paid for just in that regards. I mean, I don't know how much a guy can actually come into a team and make money, but it's got to be a good bit.
Not zero.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
All right, the guy slinging the rock, Trevor. I mean, Zach, where do you put Trevor in the league? What has he shown you? I mean, about what range is he?
I hold on to hope that he can again turn into a top 10 to 12 quarterback in the NFL.
Love
I
that.
don't
Up there
see
with,
20
Jared Goff and them, like, up there.
Yeah, at least in that range, right? Like, you look back at his scout, and I think you see a lot of things still shine through. Like, he's got arm power that, a lot of NFL quarterbacks aren't matching. I think that he throws with some anticipation on some throws that a lot of other quarterbacks can't do. Decision making, hit or miss. You got guys like Justin Herbert, who are also successful NFL quarterbacks, sometimes talked about as top 5 in the league, which sometimes rich, sometimes not. Sometimes they struggle with decision making because they're gunslingers and they're willing to take those risks. And I want to see Trevor be a little more calculated with those. But at the same time, like, I would prefer to see my quarterback be a risk taker than not at the end of the day. And again, I go back to 2022. I don't see that necessarily being a fluke. When it comes to Doug Peterson's offense, like you mentioned, like running the same offense, but they had a good offensive line. one, that's a detriment in and of itself. Two, Doug Peterson didn't change a thing from his 2017 offense. It was the same, a lot of the same concepts, a lot of relying on the West Coast offense, and I think that was to cater to both Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. But it worked. At the time, like some of the innovations that he had in there, a lot of the jet sweeps and motions that they had were innovative at the time. You know, they were out of the Andy Reid playbook as things were getting underway in Kansas City and obviously leading to Patrick Mahomes. Like, it was fresh. It was stale. Everyone tried to copy that for years. And Doug Peterson, I mean, we sat in with him last season during press conferences, and he would like almost laugh at the notion of like him changing the way he called the offense. Or I guess it was Press Taylor calling it, but changing the play caller, changing the schematics, changing the concepts. And like that will derail a quarterback's career. If they're caught in a stale offense with a coach who's not willing to shape things around them, that will hurt them more than it will help them. You can't expect Trevor Lawrence to make something out of nothing in an offense that's stale. So that's where I have hope about Liam Cohen. And I'm admittedly not even the biggest expert on what Liam's offense is going to look like, but he, at least from his time in Tampa Bay, obviously working under Sean McVay out in Los Angeles, like, you see that there's innovation. You see that a lot of the time, like, it's not the same thing you're going to see week in and week out. And they're willing to adapt personnel. They're willing to try feed different guys on different weeks based on matchups. I know that they've done a whole like retooling of Trevor's footwork this offseason based on like the shotgun plant foot. Like, they're willing to make changes, and that's what's important.
Yeah, he's dropping the opposite foot back now, which is like, I don't know if that's good or bad for timing, but if he's more comfortable with it and it helps the offensive play scheming, fine. You know, whatever we got to do. And then, like you saying, let him be the gunslinger. Well, give him the weapons and protect him up front. And it looks like that's what we're doing. Finally.
I think they also got, not unlucky, but the Gabe Davis signing, I mean, he got hurt and he looked like he was running through mud, and I'm sure that was the knee injury was part of that. I found myself defending Doug Peterson a lot of last year because I watched Gabe Davis drop the touchdown. I watched that punch-out fumble against Miami. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, which, by the way, so I started celebrating at the 1 yard line. And so punch out happens, and the F-bomb I let out, I thought I would have 911 called by a neighbor. I mean, it was bad. My windows were open. It was so bad. But, I mean, so, like, what he was saying is he was like, if we're fumbling the ball, missing tackles, dropping passes, he's like, what play calling adjustment do you want me to make? So I partly understood that, but I completely think you're right with he didn't adapt to what his roster was, I thought.
Yeah. I think it goes both ways, too, right? Like, that's part of it. At the end of the day, like, the head coach gets held responsible for probably more things than not. And I tried to view it in tandem as, like, A, Peterson's not adapting. B, what the hell has Trent Baalke given him to allow him to do that? So, yeah, and that's where I was of the opinion, man, going back to, I started writing about the Jags when I was in high school, bro. I was like the Gus Bradley era, and there was holdover from every single coaching 2 GMs through that, but there was always pieces that made
from
it
Gus
through
Bradley
to the next regime. Dude, their tight ends coach stuck with Doug Marrone way too long for, I mean, we saw how their tight end production was over the years post Mercedes Lewis. They always held on to different people. They were never willing to give it a full, clean slate. And I left the beat in January, and it was the press conference that Shaw did with Trent Baalke. That was like my last day. And he like laughed at the concept of like, why would I do a clean slate? Do you expect me to like fire the nutritionists, fire the strength staff? And everyone's like, no, like, come on. In this day and age, it's you get rid of the GM and the head coach and you get everyone on the same page. That's what inspires me this time around. Maybe it won't work, but at least they were willing to give it the effort of like, we know that this has not been working for an extended period of time. We need new voices.
It's a cutthroat business, is it not? I mean, it's either you're producing successful results or you're not. And if you're not, put the team in there that's going to do it the right way.
Zach, I don't think I realized that we have had Gus Bradley's staff through the Doug Peterson coaching.
No,
I
sorry.
had no idea.
I meant Doug Marrone. I mean, there's a chance.
I mean, Baalke's been around for a while himself. Like, he was the director of player personnel in 2020. with that horrible draft.
Under Marone, right, exactly. And there was I know there were a couple of staffers that stayed through. I mean, shit, they might have even had one or two that stuck through to the Urban Meyer staff. And I know that he came in and brought a lot of his own people, but it's hard for me to remember all of them. But there was crossover over every single era of Shad Khan's ownership of the Jags. There's always been a couple of stragglers who stuck around, and this time, it's a whole new staff, which is they needed.
Wow, I didn't know that. So this is really a truly new beginning.
Clean slate.
I thought Tony Baselli being hired as executive vice president was sent a huge message of, one, he loves the trenches. Two,
I
I don't think he's going to be filtered. He's going to say, I have a gold jacket. I think my opinion matters.
I'm
Okay.
sick of people just
Go ahead.
collecting paychecks, man. I'm sick of people just collecting paychecks and doing an average job.
And that's another thing. Is I'm like, you guys make
That's
so
not
much
in
money.
my city, man.
Yeah.
Not here in Jacksonville. We're trying to blow up. We're trying to go deep in the playoffs. We're trying to be a really competitive team and go to work on Monday with a win on our chest, man. How many Jags fans are just going to work and they're sad, or their friends are making fun of them?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I have a ton. What a shame, man. Let's bring the heat in Jacksonville, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
Zach, before we move to the defense, John Gruden was at practice. I would have paid every dollar to be a fly on the wall for every moment of John Gruden at Jags practice. Have you heard anything about what happened there?
Not really, honestly.
He was probably
I
just
know
messing
Liam
around.
said, yeah, I think so. And I know that he did a little photo op with Travis Hunter. I mean, I remember Liam saying something after that happened that he a lot of this offense is derived from what John Gruden did. Obviously, with some changes, but that's good. That's, I mean,
All right,
super
right on,
winning
dude.
coach
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, Sterling
That's
Sharp's
about all I got, though, on him.
Sterling Sharp's Hall of Fame speech. He had a whole section for John Gruden, man. I mean, I will take that.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
All right, Zach, we're going to go defense at a pretty high level just because it can't get much worse than it was last year. The rotating of players, like it's a hockey team. I went to a Dallas Stars hockey game, and I was pointing out to everyone around me. I'm like, this is how the Jaguars sub their defense. So, what are you liking on this defense? I like our linebackers. They didn't bring in any new D linemen. They brought in an edge rusher. The edge rusher, they primarily went in the secondary. What are you hearing, liking, seeing?
Yeah, I'm liking that they retooled the depth to their edge rush more than anything, actually.
Yep,
I
Ogba
know
was
that those
huge.
guys are not necessarily the most significant players, but Emmanuel Ogba, for one, you want that guy getting in and playing 30% of the snaps on your defense and let him get after quarterbacks. It's what he's done his entire career, and he's done a good job of it. When's the last time Jacksonville had a decent third edge rusher?
Arden Key, and they let him go. Oh, I mean,
And they let him
you
go.
didn't want to pay him,
And-
but
and-
yeah.
And before Arden Key, I can't think of anyone besides Smoot's one big year that he
Yeah.
had. But you want someone like that on your roster every year. You can't have Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen going out and playing as much as they were, or taking them both off the field during these hockey shifts.
Yeah.
You
And the
need a
drop-off
quality pass
last
rush
year-
on every down.
Yeah, and the drop-off, if them two weren't on the field, the drop-off was immense. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Pass rush was non-existent.
you could
Yeah.
feel it.
Ogba
You could
can-
literally feel it.
give you a good, like you said, 30% of the snaps. Ogba will keep you comfortable while he's in the game.
That was another one too. I mentioned Cooper Hodges earlier. They had a Cooper Hodges on defense last year in Miles Cole, except the issue was they actually played him.
God.
That guy had more career seasons in college than he had sacks. It just.
But he was big,
pathetic.
fast, strong. So,
Yeah, the
Sick.
bulky special.
but they were throwing him out there on critical third downs. It was the game's on the line. What are we doing?
It's almost as if Balky was on the coaching staff, which tangent. Crazy that guy would go out to training camp every day and coach the team. Players, I know that there were players that were what?
Balky?
Wow,
I've never
yeah.
been around. They've never been around a GM who comes and acts like the coach. It's he's got a job. Players know what that job is. It rubbed them the wrong way. I'm sure
That's
coaches
crazy.
felt the same way too.
Wow.
Yeah, but classic smartest guy in the room type move, and that's where these guys came in, and they, maybe Ogba's on the back half of his career. Maybe Dennis Gardick, he's flashed a lot when he was with Arizona. Is he going to be that guy who wins the third edge rushing job? I'm not sure, but they took swings. They kept taking swings to fix what I think was arguably one of the biggest problems with this defense is not having quality pass rushing depth. Interior defensive line, not so much. I think that that's going to require some more work. I'm curious to see where Eric Armstead is with this back injury that he's dealing with, but at the bare minimum, at least they're not treating him as the third edge rusher. Like, I don't want a 6'7",
Right.
to whatever he is, like 300-pound guy being my third edge rusher when he's never done that in his career. It's like big brain. What are we doing?
Yep.
But I'm motivated to see him back at defensive tackle where he at least fits so long as he's healthy. If Mason Smith, same deal. If he can get healthy, I thought we saw at the end of last year at least, he started putting some things together. Early in his LSU career, that guy was an absolute stud, and it was a shame that injuries kind of derailed that because he looked like he was going to be a first-round pick as a freshman at LSU. So I would hope that he continues to put it together. But that to me is where like the biggest, there are a lot of answers there now, and there still remain questions on that side. Like you look at the secondary again, they've got Travis, they got Jordan Lewis, who I do think can be a really productive slot corner, and they added some, kind of as you put it earlier with the offensive line, like they raised the floor of that unit quite a bit, and that was really important. For me, it's all about the trenches, kind of like you, Marcus. Like I want to see some big gains there.
Wait, hang on just a second. Zach just said that one of our biggest problems was our pass rush. Then I'm feeling like my eyes in my football brain, I actually have something going on here now. I feel like I feel like I got it kind of figured out.
Yeah, I mean, who was just in the Super Bowl?
That was so validating.
Like, I totally agree.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think that that's the case when you have Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker as your starting edge rushers. Like they have been when they're both on the field, and again, that was a problem last year, but like they're really good. They've got a quality edge rushing tandem. I would argue it's probably one of the top 5 to 7 in the NFL. And yet they could not get passers down on a consistent basis. They allowed way too much time in the pocket, and quarterbacks weren't forced to like roll out and try and make things happen on their own. Quarterbacks could dink and dunk on this defense all day, every day, and control the clock like no other defense allowed in the NFL.
And it looked like they were just last year, and we're going way back, right? We should probably save it for a rant, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Last year, they just looked like unathletic on the edge sometimes. Like some games they were on, and then most games they were just off. And we had a lot of bull rush, not much pass rush movement going on. It looked a little bit lazy and sloppy. And then really nothing interior that was moving me. I mean, let's be real, like a 3-tech and a guard can pass rush. Don't let that slip. They can pass rush, and the ones that do it well make a huge difference because great interior defensive line are really good at blocking the holes on those short critical gains, run plays, and they can also make separation and get to the quarterback, which teams aren't really expecting them to do. They're expecting that to be on the outside. Put a guy on the inside that can do both, and watch your defense just crush.
Marcus, I think you're going to appreciate this. He wasn't with the Jags for a long time. I think one of the best free agent signings in Jacksonville history was Malik Jackson at 3-tech. That guy got after passers. He made jobs easy on the outside.
Yes.
That 2017 defense, man.
Crazy.
They were so good, man.
You guys know Mark Long, the reporter?
I know the name.
AP. I was talking to him the other day because he also covers Florida, and I reminded him because Dennis Daly retiring the other day after I guess Trayvon Walker murked him in practice.
Oh, no.
Remember the last time Florida or Jacksonville had an offensive lineman retire during camp?
No.
It was Brandon Albert in 2017. Jacksonville was born.
Okay. Come on now. There we go. Write that one down.
All right. We're going to take a mental note there for sure.
Yeah.
We can bring Saxonville back too, man. It's not gone.
Yeah.
At any moment, like we could go right back to Saxonville.
And Zach, they kept Devon Hamilton, Eric Armstead, Mason Smith, the other LSU guy, Jordan Jefferson, Tyler Lacey. Like they apparently thought this isn't a bad D line. Just one, the starters can't come out after first down every time, and then two, I don't really know how much you can scheme a D line. I mean, I feel like a lot of it's just I don't know, but they thought the talent here on this D-line isn't too bad.
Yeah, and I don't know the defensive scheme as well just because I haven't been able to keep up with it as much, but I would assume that it's more of a one-gapping. Like Ryan Nielsen, in fairness, I think he was one-gapping a bit, but Marcus, you mentioned them being on not super athletic, at least. That's because he asked these edge rushers to basically get fat. Like
That's what
crazy.
Ethan was saying, man.
Dude,
That's
I told
exactly
you he
what
made them all
Ethan-
get fat.
Dude, I couldn't believe that. I literally couldn't believe when I heard that. It makes no
Josh
sense
Allen-
to me.
17 sacks. And they got him fat.
He was a weak side edge rusher, probably 250-ish pounds at that point, and they had this dude pushing 270 if he weren't over 270 last year. It's like, what are we doing?
And these 10, 15 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, you can ask Marcus. Like, he played D-line. I'm like, that's a lot of weight
It is a lot of
to
weight.
be pushing around. Like,
It is a lot of weight.
I have hope because it can't get much worse. I think Travis is going to help back there. I think Eric Murray is going to help back there. Yeah, man. I also hear they like this Ransaw guy out of Tulane. Apparently he's pretty nasty too. But we'll see. Antonio Johnson was supposed to be nasty too.
That's true. I forget about Antonio Johnson because he ended up being pretty forgettable. I'm curious what we end up hearing about Ransaw's injury because, just as a rookie, second rounder, someone that you think is going to play, obviously unideal to not have him out there for a few weeks.
Yeah.
But hopeful that he's at least ready to go by the start of the season.
Yeah, man. All right, we'll send you out on some UF stuff because, one, it is actually pretty interesting. But, I mean, I guess really quick, if you had to guess, how does this division stack up this year? Houston Jags, Tennessee Colts, if you had to guess.
This is always tough. AFC South's always really tough to predict because you
It's
never
four
know
pretty
who's
bad
gonna end up
teams.
being really- yeah, no, exactly. I've got Tennessee at the bottom. I even think Cam Ward can be a solid NFL quarterback, but man, that roster just across the board, I think, still needs a lot of work. Houston's offense does not look good in camp, but I don't want to discredit what they've been able to do the last couple seasons, so
Yeah.
I think I'll put them up at the top. And then in classic fashion, Indianapolis and Jacksonville kind of flipping between the 2 and the 3. Anthony Richardson apparently is having a good camp. He seems motivated and doing better than he's done in past years. Just can't bank on him staying on the field ever.
Right.
Like when I see him complete a full season for the first time, I'll be excited for him. I like the guy. I've gotten to know him and I wish him well, but I'll be shocked when I see that happen. So when I'm forced to pick Daniel Jones over the Jaguars and what they've
Right.
got going on, I think I'm going Jacksonville too.
Yeah. I agree. I have the same
Come
way.
on.
Yeah, I hate it because it's not the Jags, but apparently Houston is about a plus 110 bet to win the division. I'm like, that kind of sounds like free money right there.
Yeah.
All right, dude, let's send you out on some Gators. Just UF football as a whole. I don't understand how they're not in the mix every year. It's a big brand. The location's great. There's a ton of high school talent in the state of Florida. I would think they have NIL money. What's going on with Gator football?
I think that since the beginning of the NIL era until, I don't even want to say that it's fully fixed, but at least over the first couple years of it, they were reluctant to get into it. I think that they struggled fundraising. I think that they have a very, very small group of boosters who bring serious money to the table. Not like the under the table stuff that used to happen back in the day and still does, but they didn't have the big dollars coming willing to go and outspend Texas, Miami, some of these, Alabama
SMU.
probably.
Yeah.
SMU, Texas Tech at this point, right? That's what's leveled the playing field, which has had its pluses and certainly a lot of its minuses across the landscape. But Florida was unwilling to really dive in headfirst about that. And I think it even took Billy Napier some time to realize how critical that is. And he took a Moneyball approach that even to this day, I think that he still follows to an extent. He loves the high school recruiting game. He's not a transfer portal guy. He's more of a patchwork portal guy. And I respect it. You see some of these, you see Florida State, right? They went all in on the portal, really, really worked there for a second. But it's not necessarily a long-term build. And I think that they paid for it last year. I'm curious to see how flipping it around this year, because they should only be able to go up, in my opinion. but it's the risk that you take as well. You know, if Florida's willing to oversign high school recruiting classes and not necessarily rank in the top 10 of recruiting rankings, I think this past year was their first top 10 class under Napier. That's so unlike Florida. You're either stacking talent that may not necessarily contest with the best schools, or you end up finding a couple of gems you've over-recruited, and then those players are going to want to go elsewhere either for playing time or maybe a bag. It was chaotic. I don't think that Florida really knew what it was doing at the start of that era, and now that they've got the settlement coming in, you know, that'll help. I think that'll help every school and makes it a lot easier. And to give Billy Napier some credit, they kind of built out a front office with some NFL people this offseason, so they have a feel for how they want to structure contracts, how they want to value certain players at certain positions. But so far, it's taken them some time to really learn the new era of the game. So I'm curious to see what this next evolution looks like now that they have a structured cap to pair with their NIL.
Pretty incredible that college football programs have NFL style front offices now with them.
Yeah,
I mean,
wild.
How does this is kind of like a dumb question, but how does NIL work? Because originally, wasn't it supposed to be like you got sponsored by the local fried chicken joint, and now it's like here's $400,000? How does it work?
The purpose of it, right? Yeah, but it let the cat out of the bag. That was certain schools giving certain prospects Dodge Challengers on the night of signing day.
Yeah.
Right? Because those people with money were always there, and now that it became legal, they started doing these collectives, right? And they were sponsorships. And granted, I see Florida players all the time working out for Habitat for Humanity, building homes in Gainesville, and that's what those collectives are powering. Is it worth $1,000 to have them go and commit 20 hours a year to build houses? As grand of a gesture as it is, no, I think that it was a front. And now that they've got this cap coming in, again, it is supposed to level things out a little bit, and there's been back and forth on what NIL is going to be allowed to do. They brought in that clearinghouse once the settlement went into effect. They're rejecting certain NIL deals. They were coming out and saying collectives aren't allowed to operate. They were before. But now agents are involved with college football. And agents and other people, they're willing to file lawsuits to say that this is manipulating the market. These guys are free to make money. They determine their value. Schools or collectives determine their value. Who is a clearinghouse third-party entity to say, no, you're not worth that. You can't sign that deal. So that creates a problem in and of itself. And NIL's been a thing for 4 years now. $20.5 million every year sounds great to be coming from the school. When you split that across, I think Florida's going to pay 7 different sports out of that $20.5 million, and then you take into account quarterbacks are making $3 to $4 million, maybe. Right. All of a sudden, that turns into $16 million to you got 84 other players on your football roster, let alone 6 other sports, 5 starters in basketball that you got to divvy up between $16 million. So, in my opinion, I don't think the cap is going to mean that much until it grows exponentially and is able to kind of push NIL to the side.
Yeah, I mean, you got swing tackles making 6 figures. I mean, it's
insane.
Yeah. It's incredible. I think it's pretty crazy because the talent has been distributed a little more evenly, because now that 5-star that would have been the backup at Alabama, Louisville's now going, hey, I'll give you $750,000, and he's going done. I'm at Louisville now. So that's kind of nice that it spreads it out. I feel like it brings out the coaching more in college football a little bit, because that's Nick Saban's obviously the greatest, but it's his backups were 5 stars. So
right, that's true.
But yeah, I think it's. I can't wait to see what the cap does to it a little bit. And now that these people have some front offices going, I mean, Stanford hired Andrew Luck. It's amazing.
Yeah, and he just hired someone else the other day too. I forget who it is. I think it was an athletic director, but something's making me think he also had NFL experience. So it's a pro model. At this point, it's we can't call it an amateur sport anymore. It's
the mini NFL, bro. It's NFL Junior.
So UF is still in the process of getting back to those Tim Tebow, Brandon Spikes, Percy Harvin days, eh?
I think so. And I've, in my little media tours I've done this offseason, I think this is the second most talented Florida team that I've covered. Behind behind the 2020 team. Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney.
That Alabama game. Whew.
That Alabama game, yeah, and I mean,
Took it to him.
That team was. I don't think that team was well coached, even though it had a great offensive schemer and play caller in Dan Mullen. But I mean, shoot, that defense was atrocious at UF. I think there are at least 6 or 7 players from that defense still in the NFL to this day. So it goes to show that there was talent there.
Yeah.
I think Florida has recruited decently enough and developed very well at a lot of key positions to make this a talented and deep roster. My concern is kind of coaching. I'm not the biggest in-game fan of Billy Napier to this point in his career. I think that his offense is fairly well documented as being a bit outdated. But when it comes to the talent, there's still another hurdle or two they can jump in the recruiting game, in the transfer portal. But they've proven they can develop players, and that they've got a good eye for maybe the lesser ranked players that they can get their hands on and turn them into quality, at least serviceable guys at the college level.
Love it. Well, Zach Goodall, brother, thank you for coming on. I learned a lot. That was fascinating. Can't wait to have you back on. And, dude, let's go Jags, man.
Yeah, man. Dude, you are a gentleman and a scholar. An absolute legend. Dude, thanks for coming on to Two in the Teal. It was we'll have to have you on again, and then
for sure.
If we can all get in town for a Jags game, let's go. That'd be sick.
Absolutely, man.
We should all run it up to a Jags game. Dude, yeah, anytime. We'll have you back on for sure, bro.
Sweet.
Absolutely, man. Yeah,
Dude.
I'll let you guys know when I'm in town. I'll be making it. I'm eyeing Monday night against the Chiefs for sure.
Everybody is.
Hey, well, I'm in Dallas, and that was my father texted me and saying, "Can you come house sit for us this weekend?" And I go, "I'm sorry, does that overlap with Chiefs Monday Night Football?" Yeah, no, I'll take your season tickets and I'll come house sit for you. Yes, I'll put anything on being there. Yeah,
he gets it. He's not running a podcast, is he?
Exactly. No, yeah. He knows I need content. Sweet, dude. Thank you so much, and dude, we'll chat soon.
Absolutely, appreciate you guys.
Peace,
all right,
everyone.
man. Take it easy, brother.
Good to see you.